Toastmasters most welcome guests. My role, we haven't got any guests here, so everyone knows what the general evaluator's role is. We are very privileged in this club because every meeting, well since August anyway, the meetings are started in such a superb way because we have one of the best presidents in London, and many of you may not realise this, and I'm not just trying to butter you up.
I don't care.
I do. But something I would urge many of you to do is to visit many other clubs. Just go as a general evaluator, or just go to look and see how other clubs run. And it makes such a big difference if the person that starts the meeting off is really encouraging, tells a nice little story, and really motivates everyone and gets the meeting off to a great start. And Jill does this every single time, so just really want to appreciate that. We then moved on to our Toastmaster, Shaky Stevens. He did mention shaky. I can't remember in what context you used it. You said something about shaky, so that was straight there. There was great clarity, and Martin really puts thought into everything he's saying, and he's improving so much. You've done Toastmaster role a few times now. The first time he did it, and I don't mean this in a bad way, it was quite clunky, and that was like a few months ago. It's no longer clunky, it's quite smooth now. He's really improving into the role. Now, someone remarked upon Cena as timekeeper before about, it's Martin, about how creative he is and everything he does, and it's something that most people don't do, but it's something that I think we all should do, and that was a perfect example of trying to go out of your comfort zone and trying to do things a little bit different. And the result is, as you saw, the humour, the laughter. I think everyone enjoyed that timekeeping performance. And it's something we should all aspire to now. And whatever role you're doing, obviously if you're speaking or evaluating, it's a bit different. But if you're doing a functionary role, don't just do it by the book. Try and do it in a different way. Whatever way that might be, just try and bring something of yourself to it. And Sina demonstrated that superbly. And I love that bell. Every time we ran it, I kept thinking, now we need to go, with great enthusiasm. Then we had the dentist, or the R counter. He has such a happy smile when he delivers his report. He was very upset that there wasn't much to deliver. But the enthusiasm that he delivered it with, yes, second to none. And you apologised for picking Nike up on like. Don't apologise, because crutch words are definitely a part of the R report, because it's not just about people are saying or it's very much about picking up on crutch words. So if people are saying things like, and so on, that definitely needs to be picked up on. And it's not just for you, but anyone who's doing this in the future. So don't apologise, that was really good. Our grammarian. Now, the word indubitable, am I the only one that sees this and thinks of Mary Poppins?
Yes.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, indubitably. No one else remember? As soon as I saw that, I was thinking of Mary Poppins. Yeah, it's in the song. In Supercalifragilistic, they do the song, and then halfway through he stops, and Mary Poppins says something, and then Dick Van Dyke, giving it all this, says indubitably, and then they carry on and sing. Your mother told you that. Well, yeah, my grandmother told me that. I'm going to move on to next 6 evaluations tonight. I was aiming to try to do this general evaluation with no notes, and then I saw we got 6 evaluations and no chance, so I'm having to use my notes. And we had there was a theme running through the first few people that were evaluating on stage. Let me see how many people did this. It was the first 3 people, so that was Sonia, Satya and Nike. All of them left the lectern here, and there was much too much emphasis, or there was too much kind of even leaning sometimes for some people on the lectern. It shouldn't be an essential part of what you're doing, maybe have it to the side. But more importantly, or more something I noted on all 3, were the evaluations were speaking to the speaker all the time, rather than the whole room. The evaluations you deliver are for all of our benefit. It's not just for the speaker. And Jill has a very good saying about that when you're giving commendations, you give it to the whole room. When you're giving a recommendation, then you give it to the speaker. But don't just do the whole evaluation to the speaker, because it's for everyone's benefit. But that being said, Sonia, the first evaluator, no, I believe, was that your first evaluation?
Yeah.
Wow. Very, very encouraging, some great commendations. I think when you introed, you were doing Dennis, when you introed Dennis, it was quite weak. And you weren't the only person to do that. I'm going to mention a couple other people, but an introduction is so important because a lot of us, the reason we come here in the first place is because we're nervous as speakers. One way of really helping someone overcome their nerves is by giving a fantastic introduction. And there was no better display of that than what Mike did. Mike's introduction for when he introduced Denise, Ronnie, was first class. That was exactly how an introduction should be done. But please, whenever you're introducing someone, whoever's evaluating from now on, put some thought into the introduction of who you're introducing. Give them, really pick them up, and then get everyone clapping at the end. Don't just do a week, just say the title of the speech and then kind of hand over. It's not good. It doesn't really, if someone is a bit nervous, you're not helping them at all. Second evaluator, Sati, was that your first evaluation as well? Wow, you are a natural evaluator. You're gonna be winning some contests, seriously. That was the encouragement, the commendations, the recommendations, the smile all the way through, everything. I was looking thinking, this can't be your first evaluation. That was really good. I mean, there were a couple of things I know, the lectern and speaking to the speaker the whole time. But apart from that, there was a little bit of kind of unnecessary movement. There was a little bit of this going on, but I had to find something to give a recommendation. Night, very smiley again, and she was very expressive. When she was talking about what was going on, she was really expressive as to, you really using her body language. There were some really good, honest recommendations. One problem with Toastmasters sometimes is we're too encouraging and there's not enough honesty, I think. There was some nice honesty there, but delivered in a really good way. David's intro, the humour, that was a great way that he came up. I can't remember what line he used, but it was, everyone was laughing. Oh, that was it, yeah. It was a great intro. And David is obviously one of the most experienced evaluators in the club, and he really showed us what we should be aspiring to as far as evaluations go. He spoke to everyone, but when he was giving recommendations, he spoke to the speaker, really expressive, and demonstrated the recommendations. It wasn't simply a case of telling us recommendations, he demonstrated how that recommendation could be carried out and so on. The only thing I could really pick David up on was a lectern. I don't really feel that you need to, for someone who's as good an evaluator as David, I'm not sure he needs to be referring to his notes as much as he does, and having the lectern right here and kind of cutting himself off from the audience. I really think you should be, if not going for no notes, but at least not using the notes as much as you do. Mike was obviously another one of the most experienced, well, the most experienced person in this club, and one of the best evaluators in this club. So encouraging, excellent commendations and recommendations for Ronnie. I mean, there were some really, really good commendations and recommendations. The quotes. How the hell did he come up with so many quotes? It's a walking quote machine.
Have you not heard of Google?
There was something I'm not sure I've ever noticed this from Mike before. There was some nice kind of movement. Mike doesn't just aimlessly move like some of us do, and I tend to do. But there was one point where he was standing over here. He didn't do it over here. There must be something about this area. Where he was kind of rocking backwards and forwards. But superb intro, and I liked when, well, I mentioned about the superb introduction, and part of the introduction, he talked about Bruce Forsyth. And I thought Mike's probably the closest in age to Bruce Forsyth. I'm not saying he's the same way, he's the closest in that. Our next evaluator was Angela, and another really humorous intro, and had us in stitches again, and mentioned about Mike's quotes as well. Some excellent recommendations once again. I couldn't work out why Angela was holding the manual all the way through the introduction, the evaluation. Simply not necessary. As someone as experienced as Angela, I expect her to be using something like this, small notes. A4 notes, when you're starting, okay, maybe you aren't aware that that's not great form, but Angela's not starting. Don't be using a manual or A4 piece of paper. Do something like this, or even better, no notes at all. But, and a couple of times Angela was speaking to the speaker, to Sandy, which I was surprised about. But, and actually Angela's intro of Sandy wasn't great, but the actual evaluation was superb, some really, really good recommendations. We've got such a good thing going at this club, we've got such a great atmosphere, there's always humour every single week you come here. Can you ever remember a time you come in here and you didn't laugh at some point? We've really got a special atmosphere in this club, and long may it continue.
Thank you very much to Tony, and I also appreciate Tony's cheerful way of delivering his thoughts, and you spoke about honesty and you mixed the